For the past year, I've been using the Aqara U100 smart lock. My family and I love that we can all easily get into the house without carrying keys. Personally, I think a smart lock is a must-have these days. You never have to worry about carrying keys. You don't have to worry about accidentally leaving the door unlocked. And it's so convenient for family or friends to be able to get in, especially if you're out of town and you need someone to get into the house. Now, Aqara has a new U50 smart lock, which has most of the features of the U100, but is even more affordable. One of the big features that a lot of smart locks don't have is Apple HomeKey support, which allows you to unlock the door using your phone or an Apple Watch. The U50 works with all the smart assistants and is future-proof with Matter support. So we're going to talk through what all this lock can do. This video is sponsored by Aqara. They did send this over for me to check out. I was curious about it because the U100 has worked out well for me. So an even more affordable option I think is great. Now this video is not a review of this lock. I have not used it long enough for that. It is a walkthrough of what all this lock can do. But I can share with you my experience using the U100 over the past year. If you're not familiar with Aqara, they have a whole ecosystem of smart devices. I've been using their stuff for years and I work with them because their stuff has always been affordable. It's worked well and it supports Apple's HomeKit, which is now Apple Home. HomeKit devices were always really expensive, so to see stuff that performed well at a great price was nice. Aqara has switches, smart plugs, sensors, cameras, video doorbells, locks, curtain openers, and a bunch of other stuff. So definitely check them out. I'll put links in the description to the U50 along with some of their other devices. There are a lot of smart locks out there. So before we go into details on the U50, I think it's important to cover some of the key features that separate this from other locks. One of the big ones is working with all the smart assistants, which is not the case with a lot of others. The other is HomeKey that I mentioned earlier, which if you have an Apple Home, there aren't a lot of choices out there. HomeKey is so convenient, especially if you have your hands full. It's very easy to just put the watch up to the lock and unlock it, or if you have your phone in your hand. The U50 is one of the most affordable HomeKey options, and prior to this, the U100 was one of the most affordable options. Another big feature of the U50 is that it's future-proof with Matter support, and is part of a large ecosystem of devices that all work together. The Aqara U50 lock is available on Amazon for $149.99. Like the U100, the U50 has a very modern look to it. It's available in this dark black color. This is a change from the dark gray of the U100. You can see they look pretty much the same except for a new color and no fingerprint sensor. The U50 is meant to replace your existing lock and is designed for single cylinder locks, which are the most common locks you'll find in the US. It is made out of a heavy duty zinc alloy. It has an IPX5 waterproof rating and it can handle extreme cold of negative 31 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 35 Celsius, or as hot as 150 degrees Fahrenheit, that's way too hot, or 66 Celsius. I wouldn't want to be on near either of those extremes. A security feature of the U50 is the matte finish on it, and that's designed so that you can't see any fingerprints left on the buttons that you're using. Here's a look at it next to the U100 I've been using for the past year, and you can see on the U100 that there's no worn areas or marks for the buttons we use regularly. Another security feature is that if you enter the wrong passcode multiple times, it'll actually lock the keypad and then give you a little warning sound on it letting you know you messed up. Next, for old school keys, there is a hidden keyhole that you can slide the cover down, which I really appreciate it because the whole point in getting a smart lock is not to use those keys. So why have a keyhole to stare at the whole time? Now, one of the downsides of the U100 is that you couldn't rekey it. This new U50 is supposedly you can rekey it and remove the cylinder from it. I don't know how to do that, and I haven't talked to a locksmith about it. But from what I see on the back, there is a little tab, it looks like. I don't know if that helps take it out. So that's something to think about with this lock. For me, it hasn't been a deal deal breaker because we're not using the keys. So I've made copies as a backup, and I have a key hidden where no one's going to find it just in case we need one. On the bottom of the keypad is a speaker that's going to give you your different tones as you're locking it or unlocking. The speaker is also used to guide you through the setup process. It is nice. You can set up a do not disturb. So if someone does come home late, you can have do not disturb mode on and the keypad won't make any sounds when it's unlocking. Now, to be able to control the U50 lock from a smart speaker, you are going to need one of their hubs. You can control it with Bluetooth directly to the lock, but it's not the way to go. Instead, you get a hub like the M2 or the M3. Both of those are going to give you Matter support. Now, in the box, you have everything you need to install this, except for a screwdriver. And really, it's easy to get intimidated with this stuff, but there's not a lot to do to take a lock off. You basically have two screws holding it in, and you remove the inside knob and the outside of the lock, and then remove the bolt with the two screws holding that in. So to install the Aqara lock, the first thing you do is pick out the right strike plate for your lock. You have a couple different sizes to choose from. Next, you remove your existing lock. From there, you take the bolt that comes with the U50 and you install it, paying attention to the little top. You attach a keypad to the door using two screws and a metal plate. The inside knob is made out of plastic since it's not needed to provide any of the strength. It just attaches to the metal plate. Under the knob, there's two screw holes to attach it to that plate. But before you do, you just gotta plug in the connector into the keypad. You attach it. Once you have the inside knob installed, it's important to manually check the lock before you power it up. With any smart lock, you need to make sure that the weight of the door is not being held by the deadbolt. In my house, the deadbolt was taking the weight, so I had to slide the strike plate back so that the weight holding the door closed was on the knob. Once I did that and the lock opened nice and smooth, it was ready to power up the lock. To power up the U50, it does come with 4 AA batteries, which I appreciate, AA batteries, instead of some little odd squished looking AA thing that you have to special order and works with nothing else. In the past year of using the U100, I've changed out the batteries, I think 4 times. I've been okay with that. I think it's been pretty close to the 4 months that they said. The new U50 though is rated for 6 months of use. Now, if you ignore all the low power warnings with your lock and you procrastinate changing those batteries, if you do get locked out, there is a USB-C on the bottom, so you are able to provide emergency power to the lock to be able to unlock it. But I'd recommend not procrastinating changing your batteries. Once you have it connected and paired with one of the hubs, you can then connect it with your smart assistant. For Apple Home, you go into the Aqara app and you bind the U50 to your Apple Home. For Alexa users, you go into the app and you download the Aqara skill and you link your account, and from there the lock's going to show up automatically. Now once you're set up and ready to use it, to lock the door on the way out, you just hit the little lock button and it'll lock it for you. When you come home, if you want to use the keypad, you touch it to basically wake the keypad and then enter your code and push the lock button. It'll unlock for you. If you want to use the Apple Watch or your phone, you do want to go into your HomeKey settings and make sure that express mode is turned on. That way you can just put your watch or phone up to it and it will automatically unlock without you needing to confirm anything. When it comes to locking the door, there are some auto lock features. One of them is if an assistant, a smart assistant, unlocks the door and nobody opens it, after a few minutes, it'll lock it automatically. Just in case you hit a button in your phone and accidentally unlocked it, you're covered. You can have auto lock set up so that when you leave the house and close the door, it automatically locks behind you. You also have the option of touching the keypad. So if you're coming in, you touch a button on the keypad. When you close the door, it'll lock behind you. Something different from a lot of smart locks is in order for them to determine whether the door is open or closed, they tend to use magnets that need to be stuck to the door jamb. With the Aqara U50 lock, there's a gyro gyroscope built in. So during the setup process, it'll have you place the door in the lock position and then the unlock position and open it. That sets it so the gyroscope knows when the door is open or closed. Now to unlock the door, you have a bunch of different options there. You go old school with the key, but that's not the point of the smart lock. You could use the Aqara app to unlock the door, or you can use the app from your favorite smart speaker. The one that gets used most frequently in my house would be the passcodes. What's nice is you can set up individual passcodes for each person in the house. If you do that, it will create a log when each password is used. One of the things that's nice is you could set it so you get notifications if certain people come home. You can also set up temporary passcodes. Maybe you have somebody house sitting, you create a code just for the time they're there and then get rid of it when they're gone. The way I like to open up this lock is using HomeKey. It's just very convenient to just stick the Apple Watch up there to unlock the door, or if I'm getting out of my car and I already have my phone in my hand, just bring it up to the lock and it quickly opens. Another option to unlock the door is to use NFC cards. If you're away from your house and you have an Aqara doorbell, you could set it up so if someone rings it, you'll get the option to unlock the door right from that screen. Now let's talk about automations. A great thing about having a smart lock is to be able to work it into different automations. I control my lock through Apple Home, and I've created some different scenes and automations to happen. I use one of the Aqara mini switches in my entryway, and those are great. They have 3 different actions with them. So one press turns off the lights, double press turns on my living room lights, and then a long press turns off the lights downstairs and confirms that the lock is locked. Now, if I wanted to, I could automate that. So at a certain time, 10 o'clock at night, it shuts all that stuff down and just confirms the door is locked. One of the automations I have is that when anybody comes home at night and unlocks the door, it'll turn on some lights for them. Now, if you want even more automation options, you go into the Aqara app. There you can make a lot happen. One of the automations for security that you can do within their app is that if somebody uses the key to open the door, you can have a camera turn on and start recording, and maybe have some lights come up, or even take advantage of the M2 or M3 siren. You could take it a step further and use a car ceiling light and have a visual alert for them. With all that going on, you can scare away the person you gave the key to. You can also set up automations based on the passcode that's used. So maybe when I come home, I like to have the TV automatically turn on. So in the Aqara app, I can take advantage of the infrared emitter on the M2 or M3 hub, have it turn on my TV and receiver for me, while at the same time in Apple Home, I could have that unlocking trigger some Apple Home scene. If you're into automations and you have multiple Aqara devices, it is definitely worth checking out the different things in there. Also, Apple Home users, you're able to bring over scenes from the Aqara app into Apple Home, which opens up a lot of other possibilities with their devices. There's a lot you can do with this lock. I mean, you got that home key, the automations. This lock is really packed with a lot of features, especially with as affordable as it is. If you've been holding off on getting a smart lock, definitely check this one out. Apple Home users, that home key is definitely worth it. Now, if you made it this far, please consider subscribing. Next, check out this video over here on Aqara's new ceiling light. That's a lot of fun. It's bright. Check it out. Up here is the U100 lock I've been using. If you want basically the same lock with a fingerprint sensor added, check that out. I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching. Bye.